time, happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Well, let's go to questions now. I know we have many members who have signed up, many of them remotely, but I'm sure they will be coming on the screen. And we will start with questions with myself and then Senator Schmidt and so forth. So I wanted to ask the nominees, you all mentioned safety, and thank you for that. According to the latest report I mentioned in my opening statement, there were 13 completed items, but there are 30 recommendations. So one, how will you drive Amtrak to complete those items of safety and operations? And number two, obviously very concerned about the Western Empire Builder and Coastal Starlight service that serves many communities. How will you each commit to protect the nation's long-distance service, particularly in the West? So Mr. Capozzi, and then just down the line, safety and service.
In terms of long-distance service, I'd have to say I value all types of train service that Amtrak offers, long-distance, state-supported, and the Northeast Corridor services. And I share your commitment to long-distance train service, and I would commit to that as a board member, equally as well as to security. Safety, security, and accessibility are kind of three legs to a stool, and I think they're all very important.
Mr. Latham?
Preventive maintenance is very important to me. I think if we did a lot more preventive maintenance, maybe we can handle some of the issues that come up. And long distance transportation is definitely important. So I support you in that area.
Thank you. Mr. Vittori?
Yes, Chair Cantwell. Safety never sleeps. Safety is the cornerstone of good business. Safety requires constant focus, and I've been committed to safety my entire railroad career, and it's unwavering. Insofar as the train network system of Amtrak, I am a proponent of the national network as related to long-distance trains, state-supported trains, the Northeast Corridor, insofar as how it connects and creates a national network.
Thank you. Ms. Clegg?
Thank you, Chair Cantwell. I have worked on safety my whole career. Before this job, I worked on bicycle and pedestrian safety and transit safety, bringing forward the process that helped develop the safe systems approach that the FHWA is now using for those modes of travel. Safety is always top of mind. While at the National League of Cities TIS committee, we worked with railroads and communities across the country to ensure that communication between the railroads and first responders was what it should be, so that if incidents did happen, those first responders could respond well, and we'll bring that experience. As you know, I'm from the West, and I'm very interested in expanding the long-distance network, as well as making sure that it ties in well to the Northeast Corridor so that we have a connected system. Helping people get from one place to the other means not just one city to the next city, but from wherever they are to wherever they want to travel. And to do that, we need a much better connected system of travel on the railroads in the United States. I'll work toward that.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate your commitments. I'm definitely going to ask a few more detailed questions on safety for the record, but I want to get your thoughts about the Cascade services, because pre-pandemic, you know, we had a lot of issues. We were able to restore, you know, Seattle to Portland, but there was a lot of banging on the door. And so this issue of where states have big concerns, how does Amtrak communicate to them, and, you know, without having us be right in the middle of it? So right now, the Amtrak Cascades trains only arrive on time 64% of the time. So this is the third worst performing state supported in the nation, and it's really unacceptable. So what can you do to improve the performance of the Cascade route right down the line? Ms. Clegg, do you want to start this time?
Sure. You know, on-time performance is a long-standing issue. I don't have any magic. I'll add that in addition to living in the logging camp, my grandfather had to ride the logs down the river and deliver them to the mill. And when there was a log jam, he had to break it up. And he talked to me about how to do that. And he did it by looking at it from all perspectives, poking around, finding something that would move, seeing if he could get that move, and then the next thing, and the next thing. That's how I'll approach these issues at Amtrak. Poke around, ask a lot of questions, try to see what we can get moving.
Mr. Vittori, on-time service?
Yes, Chair Cantwell, as far as the Pacific Northwest is concerned, I was somewhat surprised by hearing your remark that it was in the mid-60s. There's obviously a major opportunity for improvement, but that responsibility towards improvement resides with Amtrak and the host railroads. And that's where it should be addressed, and that's where it needs to be resolved, not through third-party intervention.
Thank you. Mr. Latham?
I think it still comes down to preventive maintenance, not just the rails, the locomotives themselves, the depots, to make sure that everything is operating the way it should be operating, especially the machinery, which is preventive maintenance.
Thank you. Mr. Capozzi?
I think it goes back to Amtrak's mission. And Amtrak's mission is to provide efficient and effective intercity passenger rail mobility consisting of high-quality service that is trip time competitive with other intercity travel options. And I think we need to be driven by the mission to ensure that we meet that, through all facets of Amtrak travel.
Thank you. Thank you all. Senator Schmidt.
Thank you. Mr.